like making some videos today. I'll try to do my best with the F-bombs I can, and smoking cigarettes in front of the kids and hitting the bong. Let's get it out of the way now. It's an operating variable. You kids are just going to have to get past until I like the programmer. I won't. I mean, yeah, I'll give you the first day stuff. Just get used to the building and don't try to go out. Usually, I don't do cigarette breaks and shit. If I was in a computer room like that and doing stuff, it takes a week or two before my jitters to get out of my system. Anyways, before I get comfortable enough to start acting like an actual physical person outside of the robotics. That's just Roman 7 days. You got to get that stuff out. 3 Argarius. But in here, this is a new topic, and I generally talk about how space is faster than light. Hopefully I sound smart, even though I'm not. I can't do any of this crap. I really can't. I've always been, if we go to the videos, you'll know I'm a different type of programmer, right? This is a different animal while dealing with shovels, wrenches, and a 16-pound sledgehammer and a stone mill. While all programs, G-code and M-code, work the same way, we'll have a high-frequency Van de Graaff machine putting out high-frequency AC to a Linden jar without any of the wires or just crazy. That really says, well, look, you got to see it. You got to see the guy out there actually make his own Van de Graaff machine. Well, he makes his own Linden jar. I forget his name. I have him somewhere on here. This boom guy. He's always lighting himself on fire. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. At any rate, I don't have him on there. Great Electronics and stuff like that. He did a free energy generator. And, I mean, he made it look so good. And at the end, I was expecting it to, because I generally get the second law of thermodynamics. But, he gets into it and he says, well, see how that can't be that way. This configurations of wires around a magnet. Don't do that high frequency to low frequency thing where it's conducive enough where it passes through and energy collects on that Linden jar. As this is going to release it into the thing that puts it in a charge. Well, technically what you have is a Linden jar, but what it is not. And so that's where this idea of you can't move faster than the speed of light. And here at Causal, this Laplacian line that we're standing on here, that I don't want to word that. Yeah, you can't just directly input that information like that. I'm a hillbilly computer programmer, so what is the and, or, if logic that you're dealing with here that makes the best route for what that does? And again, for me, I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight. It's always take it down to 0. If I don't know how to rebuild it from scratch, then I'm not really going to know what to do, nor is the compartmentalism in that gap policy or practice here, mass gap beings meals, is a process. I know it's this process. I know I'm not NP complete. I know that there are easy points, there are ends that say are capable of doing a lot of different things, but in this specific case, NP needs to be complete so that the circuit is complete, on, off, all the avenues that you could have routed inside here when this pixel moves screens by what the system is. And in a way, that's what 3B1B is doing here. He's making sure that the concept is all the way done. We're fully integrating the subjects in that field before we change the whole base. Again, Zelda's just not walking into another room at that standpoint in time. There's different axios. There's the top view, the front view, the side view. What do we got? We got military perspective, isometric perspectives. Those are really good things, and I know that they're in there. But if I don't know that, by typing in, I have to see, my brain is going all those different perspectives: military, isometric, cartoon. Those were all kind of they are already built, and I don't even know how they were built to why they would go there, let alone what else is going to be in that folder for why the ability of that kind of V is velocity, then it's mu, and then it's nu or something like that, or it's a vector, or it's a ray, it's kinetic, whatever it is. But generally speaking, it's always, it's always v for velocity. You wouldn't start with you wouldn't start. I mean, it's counterintuitive because 0 is this mu, and that might be something you have to argue with the computer. But across 66.6, it's still going to be a physics calc, because when you do physics, that's why. That it's always going to be, there's always a middle ground physics. Even once you get it into that environment, that it's kind of got to be close, or they're cool with operating the brain that way, so that, Fulgrim here, or whatever he is, the Death March guard here, is that number, if that makes sense to you. And again, it's fleeting. I mean, this is still physics, but, I need this Game Boy game to, actually help you pull out a dot plot for a calculus class. What do you mean? And it's like, well, throw the balls. Maybe there's a random generator of his shoulder, or maybe the approximation of his shoulder never gives out, or maybe, over 100 throws or 1,000 throws, I factorial that in some way in terms of the program. I have no clue. I know it moves faster. It's already done. But technically, I don't. I'm looking at the bones, X-ray. I can't tell you that while giving it C, Ash Ketchum here, that Ash Ketchum is the best particle for that. We found out that it was Misty or some stuff, and that kicked better. Now, it didn't. Game Boy, that's a pretty good, rational value, an irrational number. See, it has numbers, but it's not really that type of number. So I just wanted to bring that up and take a look at that and really be sure to be like, yeah, you got a hillbilly like me. You got somebody that's been through school. Maybe they can handle some of this program and stuff, but for the most part, everybody, 299 million miles an hour, or whatever, meters per second, is not 1. So helium here is the second step. Kind of counterintuitive. That high frequency, the toggle back for the operating systems, much like computer engineering memory over here, is your inputs and your outputs. And somewhere in here is this NP problem of doping it up between two similar topics. What is A or B in this form on the y-axis? How does it come in and program to that Q convolution? Or like, why do we want to program the parentheses for the Euler's number? Well, again, we're not really saying, well, that's what Euler's number is. We're saying that that's what it is here. When the computer program sees A with a parentheses, or excuse me, a comma above it, that's 1. When it sees 2 behind it, and not quotation ones, but physically loaded in 2 in a row, well, what do it do? A, comma, comma. Well, that's a code that it has to program when it runs that, because that's the medium changeover, that first bar and the second bar, about it having different frequencies. The one he did yesterday or the day before, way better. Something like that was going on, but he's chopping it up and he's saying light's bending in that form, and that's what I think he's talking about. Again, it's still operating systems with what it does, but in there this starts to skew out, right? It's maybe not a direct number that throws out, but operating heat, energy usage to run in loops, there's always those things going down too. Yeah, and notes.